Hello and welcome to Under the Halo podcast. We are back for our pre-season thoughts and just going through our opinions of what's going on. So welcome. First question I have for our panel, which I'll go through our panel actually. So we have Mark, Jeff, Kevin and myself, Matt. So to put that to our panel, first question is, how have we all viewed the Saints' summer so far in terms of the sales and ins and outs?
Okay, first. There's been some good signings and there's been some very lackluster of signings which I would like to be made. So, Dusan Tadic has left, which I was quite unhappy about because they haven't really replaced him with a creative player. Also, I've been happy with some of the signings with the signing of Vestergaard, I think his name's pronounced, as a defender to bring, because we never really replaced Van Dijk leaving, which I was quite impressed that we actually brought in a player. And overall, I was quite happy we were making quite a lot of signings, but now it's kind of slowed down, and I think we haven't really replaced our main error of thing where we're struggling, which is our striking ability and our creative ability, which are the two options where I think we're going to struggle next season with. Jeff?
I've been quite happy with our signing so far. I think it's quite a case of so far so good. I'm happy with the signing of Vestergaard. I think he'll be a solid in defence for us. I'm glad that we've signed a few attacking midfield players in Elanusi and the one from Celtic. But my concern is that with reports coming in that we need to sell players to sign anyone else, are we going to leave ourselves a bit short? I think really I was under the understanding, well, certainly the other day, I thought we need another striker and probably a winger. So I would have ideally liked 3 more signings, but certainly 2. And if I was to prioritise, I would have said a winger and a striker. So it remains to be seen if that happens. But the signings we've made, I'm quite happy. And it also somewhat surprised by the fact we've got out there early, we signed some players early doors. But all of a sudden, the clock's ticking. I think the transfer window shuts in a few weeks, is it? No. So only 2 or 3 weeks or so to go. It just remains whether we can do enough transfers to fill the gaps that I think need filling. But certainly in previous seasons, I think we've struggled with goals. You could argue last season that we didn't create enough goals from midfield, but I do think we need a striker.
Right. So the signings that we've made so far have been adequate. The only reason we got out in front, so that it's clear with everybody, is because you've got a limited amount of time in the transfer window this time around anyway. And given that the World Cup was on, I think if you look at what everybody else has done, we haven't actually been that spectacular. I just think people get carried away because they see us spending money. But having said that, I've got to tell you, the Elanusi signing is a replacement for Tadic. I know Mark Hughes hasn't directly said that it's a direct replacement, but it is a similar creative player. Stuart Armstrong, who knows if he's going to be successful, but it's definitely in a position that we needed. And then in relation to Yannick Vestergaard, obviously, like Kevin said, I echo what he said about it's good to see a replacement for Van Dijk. And the goalkeeper, and we've got to understand this, the goalkeeper, Angus Gunn, basically was signed because the conditions were right for the club to ban him.
Yeah, I'll only echo what's been said really. I certainly was impressed that we got 4 signings by mid-July. I think that's probably a first certainly for a long time with us. But yeah, obviously things have dried up a little bit, and obviously amid the reports as said about that Hugh said we have to sell first. It'd be interesting to see what comes of that really. But I'm certainly happy with the signings that we've made so far. Was a bit disappointed that Tadic left, to be honest. I know it was on the cards, but still a little bit disappointed that that's how it's happened. And obviously we've loaned out, as we said, Boufal and Carrillo. One thing I will add on Carrillo, I think it's a bit harsh, some of the comments made about him. He hasn't had a chance, really. He hasn't really had a chance to impress under Hughes, but I guess Hughes has seen enough, or in some cases probably not seen enough, to keep him in. Obviously he got loaned out as well. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. Very excited for Vestergaard. I think it's a much needed acquisition for the defence, and looking forward to seeing how he settles in and hopefully leads our defence and then hopefully the whole team really through that. So yeah, definitely very excited for that. We'll wait and see if anything comes in, and yeah, I just can't wait for the season to start really, and hopefully the new players will gel really well with the rest of the squad. A second question then. So, what are your thoughts, panel, of the new Southampton kits for this season, including the away kit?
Can I go first? Very unimpressed. Firstly, the price of the kits. They were charging £50 for the red home kit, and then I found out that it actually gone on sale at Sports Direct for £25, which is half the price at which the club are actually selling for.
That's what I was going to go on to later on. But what's your actual thought of the actual kit?
Don't really like it. The home kit, I think the badge is a bit funny on it. Just don't really like the kit at all. I think it's a bit retro. The away kit, however, I like it, and I'm going to definitely buy it when it actually goes on sale in August. And the third kit, I haven't actually seen a picture of it.
I don't think they've released the actual third kit yet, have they? Have they not? They don't even released a picture of it yet.
The one that I've seen is that the third kit's meant to be a two-tone red, but it could be. There's other suggestions that it could be a grey sort of black number.
So only rumours so far. Jeff, what do you think?
I think the home kit's alright. Don't dislike it. You know, it's quite similar to previous seasons, I think. But I particularly like the away kit. I'm quite excited to be able to get that. I like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are loving the fact we've gone back to yellow for the away kit. It's first time
Definitely.
in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken, since returning to the Premier League, I should say.
Yes.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it is right.
So we're all in agreement that the away kit's what everybody's going to purchase then?
Yeah.
I think so.
I certainly would want to if I decide that is what I'm going to, or that I'm going to buy one, and whether I decide to buy one or not is a different question.
I mean, for me, it's a long waited return to the away colours of yellow and blue, and it is actually the county colours as well of Hampshire. So, you know, it's been long overdue, but it's nice to have it back again. We'll all be able to shout yellows from the stands.
There is one kit that I actually am impressed with, is the blue goalkeeper kit. I actually think that one's like a saucy little number, which I'm going to go out and buy.
Fair enough. I haven't seen the
That sounded very Jeff Banks there for a moment.
I haven't seen the second goalkeeper kit, but we never normally do we?
Mm. They should sell every single kit that's possibly at the club, but we found in seasons like the white kit never even went on sale, which I was very unhappy about.
All I would say is I just don't understand why we're having a third kit. If we're wearing yellow and blue as the away, you know, kit, right? Why do we need a third kit?
Watford at home, because they've got stripes. Don't forget they've gone to
Have they?
Yellow and black stripes.
So it's not plain yellow and black anymore.
It's yellow and black stripes for Watford now. I
I
mean,
mean, even so, does that justify having a third
pass. That's where I think the rumours of it being a red kit obviously links with China and our branding in the Far East. I think makes sense with the rumours that have been said about that.
kit? Yeah, it's
But-
like a two-tone red colour.
but we will wait and see, I guess. So going back to what Kevin touched on, I should say, is what we've called the Great Debacle with the Saints kit. for those that aren't aware, it was actually released in Under Armour shops 2 weeks before it got released by the club. I believe it was available in China and Australia, I think it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And going back to the point Kevin was going to make is that Under Armour themselves were offering a discount through Sports Direct to get it a lot cheaper, almost at half price, wasn't it? So, what were the thoughts on that?
I was very unhappy that I could see the pictures of the kit on the Hong Kong Under Armour site. I was very unhappy with that. I think, according to the club itself, there was an issue with Under Armour. They released it on the Hong Kong before they actually knew about it themselves, which I find at our club there's sometimes a real lack of communication with, like...
Well, that's Under Armour, that's not even Southampton.
Yes.
The thing is though, for me, you're not going to turn around and tell me that when a kit's being launched, Under Armour isn't going to be in contact with Saints and turn around and say, oh, by the way, we've decided that we're going to launch the kit in China and Australia before it even gets to where the club's actually based. I don't know.
Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I found the whole saga quite frustrating, really, to think that the kit was available to other people, to think that you could go and buy the kit for a team that you've never really know much about, you never watched them play. You know, you couldn't really call yourself a true supporter, and the fact that other real fans have just been left in the dark and have to wait a long time. It's just a bit frustrating, like, you know, the season ends and you want communication, and I've just felt personally it's been quite a lack of that this summer, so I find that disappointing.
Yeah, what I do find quite funny though is that we seem to get the kits leaked every season. Somebody somehow, somewhere, finds pictures of the actual kits before they're officially released, which is always. But it happens at every club, which is very strange.
That's true. That's true.
I know that's only a tiny portion of this what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But.
No, that's very true. But I just tend to think to myself that it goes back to what Jeff was saying. You know, we were told at the end of last season that lessons have been learned, and you're looking for lessons to be learned across the board, not just in terms of transfer activity or identifying players, whatever it may be. But you're talking about across the board how the club is actually run, and you sit there and I mean I'm one of those people who likes. It may take me a while before I buy it, but I like to go to the shop and see the kit as it's being launched. I mean, you have bigger sides than us who have done kit launches in Singapore, China, wherever it is, right? But they've opened up their stores at the same time that the kits are being launched, so that the actual kit is being sold here at the same time that it's being launched elsewhere in the world. I don't have a problem with kits being launched, in other countries, but at least make them available at the same time that they're launching the kits.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way kits an absolute debacle as well, because the away kit should have been out before the season started, and we're going to have it released at the end of August. We're already two away games in the start of the season, and the third kit's being launched sometime after that.
Yeah, it is a bit silly, but I mean, I'm going to defend the club a little bit because they said that's out of their control. What that is, obviously, we don't know. But as you say, it should be sorted in some form before that. So the next question we kind of touched on with a little bit with the transfers, where it says, given that Mark Hughes has now said that Southampton are in a position where they need to sell before they can buy any more players in, do we feel concerned, or are we actually comfortable with where we're at? I know we were saying there could possibly be a few more acquisitions.
I'm quite concerned, really, because we haven't really got... Looking at the Derby game where we lost 3-0, and there was no real creativeness in our team, and it's the same problem to last season. We weren't scoring enough goals, and I feel like the things from last season haven't been necessarily addressed, and I feel like we should be going out and purchasing like a quality striker, or a quality creative midfielder, and I feel we haven't actually managed to do that. I think we've gone out and bought necessarily like a goalkeeper, which we didn't necessarily need, a defender, which was last year's replacement for Van Dijk, and the what's his name, Elanusi. I think that's more of a replacement for Tadic. So we haven't really gone out and actually spent any money, in my opinion. I don't know what
Well,
you
we spent money. We
Oh, they spent money. They spent
nearly
money.
55 million.
They spent money. For me, it's as simple as this, right? It's not 55 million. We've spent 41.
That was Virgil
We've
van
spent
Dijk's money,
the Virgil money. We haven't spent any additional money to that, right? Because Tadic went for 15 million quid, right? So we haven't. The thing is in actual fact, we spent 36 to put on the extra 5 million when it comes to, payments to the different players that have joined the club and stuff like that there. I mean, for me, the one thing that rings in my head from the summer is Ralph came out and said it's a game changer when Mr. Guy came and joined the football club, right? Now, the problem that we have is there's no new money, right? So obviously we're having to generate, whereas other clubs like Huddersfield, Brighton, they've spent money. They spent money last summer. They spent money this summer, right? So they're spending their Premier League money. We are not. What we're doing is we're turning around and saying, well, we've got this money left over from transfers. What about all the money that was saved over the last 4 seasons in terms of the transfer money and stuff like that there? I mean, okay, we're probably doing other things with it, but my general point is there's no new money in the football club. That's evident by Mark Hughes being told you got to sell before you buy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned because to me it just reads that we might not sign a striker or an attacking player to play up front unless we sell off some other players. And although there's unlike other seasons, there's a few players that I wouldn't be particularly concerned if we sold, because I think it could be as good as time as any for them to go and even.
Can we sell them, given that they're on high wages?
Well, that's another question, but to me it just concerns me that even after all the players we've sold in the last 5-6 years, and we've always seemed to struggle with scoring goals or strikers, we still can't sign a striker. Although that's what it appears that we're being told, unless we sell some players first. With the amount of players we've sold in previous season, I find that a bit concerning.
I think the thing is we've got a good striker. He just doesn't stay fit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what we don't want is the same situation we've had the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
We all know that Charlie knows where the back of the net is, but you want him to stay fit for the season.
I love how that he even has banter about it himself, seeing that they've been very active with him, haven't they, in pre-season on the social media and other accounts, and he's all been talking about actually him staying fit himself. That was a point I was going to very briefly make about the kit, actually going back to that. Is that I love that the social media accounts made fun of it, the fact that it got leaked first. So if you saw the videos with Matt Letizia and Fanny Bernardo before the kits got released officially, they were taking the mick out of the fact that it's already been seen.
It's like I'm very unhappy the fact that we got rid of Boufal on loan and Carrillo out on loan, and just I'm thinking to myself, why would you do that? I just like Boufal doesn't seem want to play at this club, and then in my opinion we should have sold him to like a Liverpool or a Chelsea or an Arsenal. Just get rid of him.
That's the interest. They've got to want him.
Kevin,
First.
you've got to realise, right? This bloke hasn't really done a lot, right, in the last 2 years that he's been at Saints, right? Now, the hope was that there was going to be a suitor in France, right? There isn't a suitor at the moment, right? The thing is the concern is we're not able to sell players, so we're having to send them out on loan, right? Because they're on such high wages, a lot of the time the club's paying the majority of the wages, and the club that we're loaning them to, are paying minimal amounts, and this is the problem. We're not going to be able to get the high earners off the wage bill. This is what worries me.
Fair enough, Mark. Fair enough. Going to move on then to one of the players that has left, not just on loan but properly, is obviously Dusan. What were your favourite memories of him on the pitch, maybe even off of it, during his 4 seasons with us?
I think Tadic has played some nice football for us in the time he's been here. I think he played his best football under Koeman. I think he had some great games under Koeman. I think in the last season, I think he seemed to go off the ball a little bit. Seemed to be struggling for form. Although in fairness to him, he did seem to wear the shirt on his, on his heart, on his sleeve or whatever towards the end of the season. And I thought towards the end of the season he was one of the ones that seemed to improve a little bit, and his performances were quite good. Last, say, 4 or 5 games. But I also feel that perhaps he didn't always live quite up to his expectations. But maybe there was a lot of pressure on him to, be a really good player for us, and maybe that pressure showed a little bit. I don't know.
For me, I think he played better with Graziano Pella up front. That it just didn't. His assist during that Koeman season, he was outstanding. Towards the end of last season, he also played well, especially in that Bournemouth game. He basically kept us up in that Bournemouth game. If he didn't take the balls by the horn, he would just But for me, I think off the pitch he was quite funny. Like the way I was trying to get his autograph, and he literally didn't know how to say my name. So then he tried to do he tried to spell my name out, and he just got it completely wrong. So it made me laugh. That's pretty much it, really.
I think my favourite moment on the pitch was when he got the 4 assists and the goal at Sunderland in the 8-0, and then he in the post-match interview he said, "It's not on. Why are you all surprised?" Apparently he did it in the Dutch league, so he was like, "Why are you all surprised that I've done it again?" That was quite a funny moment, but definitely going to echo what Kevin said, and definitely was at his best with Graziano Pella. I personally, I'm sad to see him go in some senses, but he certainly didn't, as we've said, didn't really live up to what he could do in the last season, maybe even the last 2. Some will argue that's because we've had negative tactics from the managers perhaps, and maybe not suited his style as much. But it is worth remembering he did actually fall out with Koeman at one point, and was doing a lot of appearances from the bench, especially when Koeman went to 3 at the back or 5 at the back.
But I think
whatever your view take on that was.
I mean, I think for me, with the Koeman factor was that he obviously wanted to manage Dusan, because I believe that there was times when Koeman would say, "Oh, he's carrying a slight niggle," and that was more indication of I want him to rest, But in terms of Dusan himself, I will miss him for one reason only, and that is his rapport with the Saints fans, because he used to make me laugh. He'd be taking a corner kick, and the fans in the Northern would go, "Dusan, Tadic, woo, woo," and he'd be waving at them, like giving them the regal wave, and you're sitting there thinking, this guy is definitely, he's brilliant copy for the fans, and I do genuinely think that he felt a connection with the supporters,
It's Probably because I'd say that I think because he came in obviously for Lallana, didn't he, in that season? And I think he wanted to prove himself, and where Lallana was such a fan favourite, he almost took that role on from that void almost.
I often wonder who's going to be, have the rapport with the fans now.
Probably be Charlie, I'd imagine.
I must admit, there was one thing I won't miss is when Everell Saints got a penalty kick, and he would literally fight Charlie Austin or fight the players just to take the penalty. That's one thing I won't. And then he would take the penalty, and then he would either miss. Sometimes he would score, but it's just the fact that I'm holding my breath, praying the ball goes in the back of the net, and sometimes he was one of those players which would just make you really kind of scared to watch it, you know what I mean, taking a penalty.
Yeah. You got anything else to add?
No.
No.
Probably the last thing I would say is he was quite and is in the press, he was talked quite a lot in the press, in the media, and especially the Daily Echo. He would always be featured in the paper.
I didn't like that so much.
Fair enough. Well, thank you, panel. Appreciate your time. Keep your eyes peeled, listeners, for other ways that we're going to be doing material for you guys. But that's all for this pre-season podcast for now. Thank you for listening. See you all soon. Cheers.
Yeah. Up the Saints.
We hope you enjoyed what we had to say on this session of Under the Halo. It might be our voices on the mics, but remember, it's your voices that really count on getting this podcast out to the fans. So please recommend us to your friends and other supporters to follow our social media. If you want to get in touch, find us on Facebook and Twitter at UnderTheHalo1 or use the hashtag UTHalo. You can also email us at underthehalo1@yahoo.com. Until next time, come on you Saints!